In this video, we're going to learn how to calculate surface area of prisms. Quick definition, surface area is when you find the area of each face on a geometric figure and then you add it together to get the total. We're going to start with coming up with a formula for rectangular prisms. So basically, we're going to find the area of each of the 6 faces and then add them up. We're going to use W, L, and H to represent width, length, and height. Typically, you'll see those represented as a cursive letter like you'll see in the figure. So first, let's just start with finding the area of this face right here. So that's a rectangle and it has dimensions of height and length. So to find the area of that rectangle, I'll just multiply height times length. And then you can see that I can move that to the back and have a second rectangle that is also height times length. The next face that we'll find the area of will be this bottom face. So this is a rectangle with dimensions width and length. So I've got width times length, and then I have a second one right here, which is also going to be length times width. So that's 4 of the 6 faces. The 2 that we haven't done yet are going to be the left and the right side. So that's going to have dimensions of width times height, and you can see that on both sides here. And we have 2 sets of width times height, so I'll do a second set. So each of those 6 terms represents the area of a face. So now we can set it up and show that surface area is equal to all 6 of those face areas added together. And we can go ahead and combine some of these together to make it a little bit easier to work with. And so right here, I have height times length plus height times length, which would be 2 times height times length. And then I can also combine my 2 length times widths and my 2 width times heights. So now I have a formula for surface area that's a little bit simplified. We can find the area of each of the 3 unique faces and then double those to get the total of 6. So that will be the surface area formula that we're going to use for any of the rectangular prisms. We'll do a quick review of our 4-step process. First, we're going to copy the formula. That's what we just came up with. Then we're going to plug in all the values we know. Third, we're going to do all of the computations. And fourth, we're going to make sure that we include the correct units. For area, we will always be using units squared. All right, first example, we have the formula written down for us. So I can start with plugging in all of my measurements. I would suggest that when you're doing this, you go through and label your height, your width, and your length. It'll just make it a little bit easier to keep track of. So the height is going to be how tall it is. And then the width is typically going to be the shorter of the 2 remaining, and the length will typically be the longer of the 2 remaining. And again, I'm using a cursive L so that it's not confused with a 1. All right, step 1 is already done. So now I'm going to do step 2. Surface area is 2 times the length, which is 10, times the height, which is 1, plus 2 times the height, times the width, plus 2 times the width, times the length. All right, for step 3, we're going to go ahead and simplify. So 2 times 10 times 1 is 20. 2 times 1 times 5 is 10. And 2 times 5 times 10 is 100. So 20 plus 10 plus 100 will give a total of 130. So that's going to be step 3. Surface area is 130, and my units will be feet squared. That represents step 4. So again, rectangular prism, these are the steps that you're going to take. Let's go ahead and try another one. Just like before, we're going to start with our formula. That's step 1. We'll also label the height, the width, and the length. And then for step 2, we'll start plugging in all of those values. So 2 times 6 times 7 plus 2 times 7 times 3 plus 2 times 3 times 6. Okay, we'll go ahead and simplify everything. So first expression, we're going to get 84. Second piece, that's going to multiply to be 42. And the third piece here will multiply to be 36. We'll go ahead and add all those up to get a total of 162. So step 3, surface area is 162. Step 4, meters squared. All right, next example, go ahead and pause it, try it, and then you can go ahead and hit play again when you're ready. All right, just like before, we're going to start with the formula. Since the picture is not labeled for us, we definitely want to start with that. So we have dimensions of 8 inches, 8 inches, and 10 inches. It actually doesn't matter as much since it's a rectangular prism, which is which, but that would be a logical way to number it. Okay, we'll go ahead and plug everything in. We have 10 as the height, and then 8 can be both the length and the width. So 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times, oops, sorry, that was height, and then 2 times the width times the length. All right, this is going to combine to be 160. This one will also combine to be 160, and the final one is 128. We'll add all 3 of those together to get a total of 448 inches squared. So that's step 3 and 4. That's the least amount of wrapping paper that we would need. All right, next example, we are going to find the surface area of a triangular prism. Notice that each of the bases are triangles instead of rectangles, so we actually need a different approach. The formula that we came up with before will not work for this shape. So my suggestion, especially while you're still learning how this all works, just find the area of each of the 5 faces and then add them all up. So let's start with the 2 bases. Those are going to be the 2 triangles that make up the top and the bottom. The dimensions where the right angle is are 3 and 4. So I'm going to label 3 meters and 4 meters. So area for a triangle, we'll do base times height divided by 2. But remember, there's actually a top and a bottom. So there's 2 of those, so I'm going to multiply that amount by 2. When I do that, I'm going to get a total of 12 meters squared. I'm going to leave units off for now. I'll put them on at the end. All right, next face is this one right here. So this rectangle has dimensions of 3 by 6. So base times height for a rectangle is just going to come out to 18. Then we can do this one on the right that has dimensions of 6 and 4. So 6 times 4 would have an area of 24 units squared. And then the remaining side is actually going to be this back rectangle right here that has dimensions of 5 and 6. So the area for that piece would be 30. All right, that represents all 5 sides, because remember there were 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. So now I'm just going to add up all of those values. So 12 plus 18 plus 24 plus 30. And when I add up all of those, I get a total of 84 meters squared. So as you can see with the triangular prism, it'll be better to just find the area of each face and then add them all up instead of relying on the formula that we did for the first ones. All right, final example, we have another triangular prism, and we'll do the same thing where we find each of our 5 areas. So this first base, still a triangle, and we have dimensions of 3 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So now if I bring that over, that's what we're finding the area of. 3 times 4 divided by 2 times 2 is going to have a total of 12. Okay, next we have this face, which is a rectangle with dimensions of 5 and 4. Which would give us an area of 20. We have this bottom rectangle with dimensions of 3 and 5. That'll give us an area of 15. And then the final face is going to be this slanted one over here that has a length of 5 and also a height of 5. So that'll be a perfect square with an area of 25. Okay, take a moment, add up those 5 faces. Again, I know there are 4 numbers, but this was 2 of the 5. And once we add those up, we get a total of 72 centimeters squared. All right, those are your examples for surface area of prisms. Remember, a rectangular prism, you can use the process where you use your formula. For a triangular prism or maybe another type of prism, you can just find the area of each face and add them all up. All right, thank you for watching.